Uh, I'm going to give you a brief overview of the features and how to use the TradingView script. The first thing you want to do is be sure and start off with a clean chart of the TQQQ. Just click there and type in TQQQ. Get that loaded. Make sure that it's on the daily time frame. And after you've done that and you have no other indicators listed, you can load the Maximus Algorithmus TradingView script by clicking on Indicators. Over here on the left-hand side, you can click on Invite Only. Yours probably will not have as many shared scripts as mine, but you'll want to click on the Maximus Algorithmus Trading System. It should be the only one that you see listed like that. You can click on it, minimize this, and you'll see the splash screen here. To go into settings to turn off the splash screen, you'll take your mouse and you'll hover over the mats right here and click on the settings gear icon. This will bring up the settings for the script. Click right here saying that you have read and agreed to the terms of use, and that will make the splash screen go off and will show you the trades. One thing that is not necessary, but I do recommend, if you'll notice over here on the side, you have all these numbers and it can really jumble up the chart. To get rid of that, click right here on Style. Scroll down until you see this section right here that says Quantity. Uncheck that, and that will clear up your screen a little bit, taking away some of the needless information. Now, let's go back and click on Inputs. Here, I'll kind of do a quick overview of the settings, and then we'll dive into each one of them a little deeper. Here's the date range filter. Here you can set, if you wanted to back test and look at a specific year or time, you can set the start time and the end time, and it would kind of show you the performance and just the trades just for that time frame. If you want to start at the beginning, back during the TQQQ's inception, I like to set it on 2009, December the 31st, even though it doesn't really start until February the 11th, I think, but you can just set it to right there and get started with the full back test. I put 2030 for the end, so it'll go from the beginning until now for the TQQQ. The next thing is probably the most important thing. You need to select which profile that you would like to look at. And you can do that by selecting any of these that you wish. We'll just select profile number 5. Of course, I've got some of the ones I used back from 2023. We'll select profile 5. Here, this is for the alert settings. You can set up for TradingView to send you alerts at the end of the day, the trading day. Here are some different features that you can set up in the alert. For example, you can title it as my IRA account. If you want to add that to the alert, you click right here, and it will add whatever you type in there at the very beginning at the top line. Here, each one of these should be kind of self-explanatory. It just adds a new line to the alert. You can hover over the information icon, and it will give you an example of what you'll see. And the lines that you see will be in the order here. Now, as far as how to actually set up alerts for it to be sent directly to you on your phone through the TradingView app, I'll have to make another video on how to do that, but you can set that up. I will say you will have to have at least the minimum paid version of TradingView, and you will also need to have a subscription to real-time data for the NASDAQ. That's approximately $3 a month for the real-time data. The basic or the smallest paid subscription, I think, is maybe $12, $15 or something for TradingView, but you will need those two things to set up the alerts. And I will create a separate video for that. But that section's there for those settings. Here, this is a download panel, a drawdown panel. You can select that to display it, and it will pop up over here on the side. It is a frequency distribution table, and it will show you how many drawdowns during the time span that you have for each kind of range. So, for example, here that shows that it's had 44 drawdowns between 2.5 and 5%. Also, you have a drawdown pain score. This one happens to have 4.98. Each pain score, by the way, is roughly the same number as the profile number that you select. And the higher the pain score, the higher the risk factor, but yet also the higher return potential. The CAGR/pain score is right here. The higher this number, the more efficient it is at making profits compared to the amount of pain that you may have. So you can kind of keep that in mind, and you can go back into settings, and if you were to change these profiles, the pain score would also change to kind of reflect that as well. Okay. So back to the drawdown panel. Here are a couple of things. You can change the colors of the background and the border. You can change several different of the features as far as how it displays. If you want to make it a little bigger writing or bigger font, you can select something bigger. You can also change where it's located, such as that, and it should update. And that's for all of the different information panels that I have. We'll come back to the display equity curve, but that will show an equity curve on your screen for the strategy that you selected or the profile, and you can select to display like the NDX, and it'll be a yellow line, and it will compare that profile's returns to the NDX or the NASDAQ 100's returns, and you can do that for several different things. You can also turn on a Bollinger Band onto your equity curve, just whenever you want to see kind of how it performs and when it's kind of getting out of range of the norm. The next part is the trade status panel. That is this little panel right here. It tells you what percent of your account should be holding TQQQ. It is displayed by default, but you can turn it on and off. You can change a few features that we're about to go over. But just to explain it, the first thing is this current status. It represents the amount of TQQQ as a percentage in your account that you should be holding. That's one thing I recommend is technically you probably should, if you want to trade this system, create a account that is dedicated to this system. Now you don't have to, but theoretically it will be better as far as risk and things if you have an account set up just for trading TQQQ with this system. There are things that you can do differently and ways you can arrange that so you don't have to, but that's completely on you. Officially, I recommend having a separate account just for this. But here it says 56% is the current status. What that means is you should be currently holding at this moment 56%. of your account in TQQQ, whatever amount that may be for your account. At the end of the day status, the EOD, end of day status, it will tell you how much after the market close, what percentage of TQQQ you should be holding. So in this instance, for example, this would be showing Friday, the last trading day. On Friday, we were holding 56%, and at the end of the day, it said we should still be holding 56%, which means we did not have to make any type of trade on this past Friday. And if it did have for us to make a trade, it would show something. So, for example, it may show 75% for the end of day status, which would mean we'd need to increase from our current status that we were holding of 56% to, say, 75%, if that's what it showed at the end of the day at the closing bell. Yes, you do have to be able to trade after hours. So I recommend as soon as the market closes, you can check your notifications in the Discord. If you do have a TradingView subscription with real-time data, you can use what you see here on the status panel. If you do not have a paid subscription with real-time data, this information may change on you 10 to 15 minutes after the market close if you don't have real-time data subscription. The reason why is because it uses the official closing price at the end of the day, and that is not updated from the markets until about 10 to 15 minutes afterwards. Now, if you have real-time data, it comes in immediately. But anyway, it will be posted on the Discord server approximately 1 minute after close, what this number will be. There are a few features. For example, you can set up your initial capital. So, for example, if you had $100,000, you can change that to whatever. And if you want to actually trade, use this to tell you exactly how much you wanted to trade. Again, if you had a paid subscription to TradingView with real-time data, you could set up your trade status panel to show you the size as a number of shares that you need to have. You can also have it to display or hide the end of day trade action. So on Friday, it says hold current position in TQQQ. But if you were to have to increase position size, it would say buy, 1,200 shares of TQQQ, depending on, again, your account size and setting that up. But again, you have to have a paid subscription to the real-time data for that. You can also change the trade status title line. You say my IRA account, and it will update at the top. Several people use this system on multiple accounts, and you can save it as a template, and you can just go directly to your setup here without having to reset it up. And again, that's more of a TradingView thing that you'll kind of need to look into or learn, or message me directly if you want more information about that. But that way you can quickly tell exactly which account this setup is for, and by changing that in your trade status line. The next thing is the returns panel, display hide returns panel. Again, you have all the features of changing the appearance of it. I'm going to hide the trade status panel to kind of get it out of the way. It depends on how much screen size you have. But we're going to look at the trade status panel real quick. And this will show every year within the range that you have set up in the settings. It will show the yearly return for the strategy or the profile setting that you have selected. It will show the total return over that time, and this is compounded return. This shows you the return of TQQQ, which is what we're actually trading. This NDX is the NASDAQ 100, SPX is the S&P 500, and DJI is the Dow Jones Industrial Average returns. And so this shows like the yearly returns, and you can compare it to each one of those. Some of you may sit there and say, well, I wish we could get the TQQQ returns every year. That would be great for years that were very bullish, but as you can tell in 2022, it would not have been wise to have been holding TQQQ, and much better to have been using this strategy. And as you can tell, the total returns for the strategy still outpaces TQQQ because it is much more consistent and regular with its returns. It definitely outpaces the NASDAQ 100. There are a few things you can add to the trade panel if you're wanting to kind of look into it. You can display or hide average returns, and you'll see that pop up down here on the trade panel. There's the average returns. That just takes the simple average of all the years that are displayed there. You can select the median returns, and that would be if you listed all these in order from least to greatest, the return that is in the middle. I personally like to kind of look at the median return as the type of return you can kind of expect on a regular year. The average is more easily skewed, and as you can tell, as time continues to progress, we've had since 2020, there was a flush of government money that was ended up being put into the market and has really kind of overinflated it, so the returns are very high those years, higher than normal, which skews the average, so I like to use the median. You can also use the compound annual growth rate, and it will display that for everything. You can also display or hide the daily returns. So if you're looking at this during the day, it will show, for example, on Friday, this profile had a 1.98% return for that day. There's TQQQs, and here is the NDX returns, so forth and so on. And that's really about it for the settings. I am going to go back and show you the equity curve, but let's change the dates up here, the date range. Let's say from I'll put 2021. That's December the 31st, 2021. So that will capture the full year of 2022 to currently. As you can tell, the returns panel changed. And let me just say this real quick. I like to, a lot of times for myself using it at the beginning of every year, I like to reset it. So like on my daily basis, this is what I will see right here. I set it to for the year-to-date kind of settings, so I can see what I've got year-to-date. I'll get rid of a lot of the other stuff. This is for my daily use, but like I said, you can play with it, set it up the way that you like it, and then have the daily returns down here. That's a nice feature. It kind of shows you what you made today, where you're at for the year-to-date, for your trading profile that you ended up choosing. But anyway, let's go back to the settings. I'm going to select display equity curve on chart. You'll see this kind of gray background. I'll show what that means in a second. I'm also going to select display the NDX. It's the NASDAQ 100 equity curve. That would be in yellow. This is if you were to just buy and hold the NASDAQ 100. This would also show you display ticker buy and hold curve. Since we have it on T triple Q, it will show the buy and hold of T triple Q if you were to just buy and hold it. And this is also based on the amount of money that you have set up under properties. Okay, so set 100,000. So your scale over here will go up to 100,000. You can double click on that and it will zoom out to show everything. But I'm going to just zoom in and out to show the returns. So this, again, it's just year to date right now for 2024. And it shows in green your equity curve for the account. This is the NASDAQ 100 in yellow, and the white is T triple Q buy and hold. Okay, so again, you can go back up to settings. We're going to go to inputs, change the start time to the last date of 2021, which will capture all of 2022. We'll have to readjust these settings. As most of you probably know, 2022 was an extremely challenging bear market, but again, you can adjust these settings to kind of zoom in for the entire equity curve. And I like to kind of zoom in to where it kind of closes all that off, but you can turn those arrows off to display the equity curve real good. But go into style and scroll down, just like where we turned off the quantity. You can turn off the shape signals and trade zone charts, and that will get rid of that. But here this shows the equity curve that if you had $100,000 at the beginning of 2022, that would show the growth and the drawdowns and things of that nature. Again, the yellow is the return for the NASDAQ 100. And as you can tell, after that bear market, the NASDAQ 100 is just now in positive territory just in this year. The T triple Q, the triple leveraged QQQ, still in negative territory. So that's why it's important a lot of times for to possibly consider trading as opposed to buying and holding. It's because during bear markets, if you have a good trading system, it can continue to profit during those bear times. And so all of this is important to kind of to look at and to analyze. You need to look at the returns panels, the equity curve, in order to choose the right profile, the risk profiles for you. And I'll talk a little bit more about those in just a second, but that's important to do. One thing to also notice is up here in the left, this kind of light blue number. As you move your cursor, it tells you what percent of TQQQ you should be holding for that specific day with this line. So for example, right here on December the 21st, 2022, it was holding 100% T triple Q that day. And as you move your cursor, the blue number in the top left will change to represent what you're holding. If it is negative, such as right now, the blue number is -12, that represents a short position. If your account allows you to short T triple Q, you can do that. Or you can go long with 12% of your account in SQQQ, which is short triple leveraged QQQ, which is the NASDAQ 100. This green number represents your account balance or the returns. So as you start up here at the beginning, you can see it's at 100,000, which is what it's set at. And as you continue to move forward, it shows you the growth of that account over time. This red number here shows you the current drawdown that you are experiencing. So where this vertical line is at currently, it shows that you're experiencing on April, whatever the date is down here, to where your line's at, it will show you what kind of drawdown you're experiencing. So it's showing right here, it's experiencing an 8.3% drawdown in your account. And so this is important in order to choose an appropriate risk profile for you. If you don't think you can handle those drawdowns emotionally, and that you'll end up starting to edit the trade yourself and changing the trades and not following the signals, then you really need to pick a less risky profile with lower risk. And so that way you'll continue to follow the system. So like, for example, here in 2023, there was a pullback, and if I remember correctly, I think the NASDAQ had an 11% drawdown, max drawdown during this time, and this profile had a 15% drawdown during that time. But if you'll notice how it came shooting out of the hole very quick, again, that's why it's important to always follow the trade signals, because if, after you've experienced a 15% drawdown emotionally, you may sit there and think, I just can't handle it anymore, and you don't take this next trade, and next thing you know, you miss the boat. And when it shows zero, that means you're at an all-time high. And so you can also use the features over here on this left to kind of see. So like, for example, you can sit here and measure this return from here. So from the bottom down to the top was approximately a 5% return from here to there. And it was very sharp returns from right there. So if you, like I said, if you bailed out, you would have missed all of this right here, getting you back to all-time highs very quickly. So I think that's kind of about it as far as on the settings and things. I am going to show you some stuff that you may want to look at on the charts and to know. We'll go back into settings, click on, we'll go back to styles, scroll down, be sure and turn your trades on charts and signal labels. I'll leave the quantity off again, go to inputs. You can go down to the display equity curve, it will turn that off. And click OK. You can double click right here and it will zoom back out some. We're going to zoom in to a little bit more detailed information so you can see everything. The numbers that I'm also going to turn on the trade status panel so you can see that again. Trade status panel, click right here, and that will show up right here. These numbers that you see right here are signals. So for example, right here with this arrow pointing up, that means that you're going to increase your position size at the end of the day to 44%. So as you can see, you were originally holding 33% TQQQ on March the 19th, and it decided to increase on this date to 44%. As you can tell, that really wasn't the best thing to do, but nonetheless, this shows you to increase your position to 44%. As it dropped, it told you to increase to 66%. But that's the trade signals that you'll see on your chart as you're back testing or looking at the back test. You can kind of see how it traded in different times. And so, for example, here you're holding 71%, it reduced to 58%, and things of that nature. And you can look right here also, again, each day you can sit there and see On this date, we're at an all-time high because it's showing 0 in red for 0 drawdown. And as you continue to move your cursor over, you'll see as the price continued to drop, it shows the drawdown increasing. So you can kind of get a sense in the past kind of what your account would be doing. You can also see that each day as it price dropped, it increased position size, and then it started bouncing back, and you can see that your drawdown, the number in red up at the top left, continued to decrease, and you can see that you're back to all-time highs right here. And so it shows that you reduced here to 20%, increased to 33%, increased position size at the end of this day on to 71, decreased to 51. So every day at the end of the day, you'll need to check your alert in Discord and under your profile that you're going to be trading to see what position size that you need to take. Again, if you do have a paid subscription with real-time data, you can use this feature right here in the script, not even have to look at the Discord. And at that point, also, if you have a subscription with real-time data, you really won't even have to look at this. You can set up alerts to get delivered directly to your phone from TradingView with exactly how many shares you should buy or sell at the end of the day. So you don't have to do any kind of calculations. If you have to use the Discord alerts, again, it just says 58% at the end of the day for your account. You'll need to calculate what that will be and how many shares you'll need to buy or sell yourself. One more feature over here on the left, you can click on this data window, and that's the object tree. You can click on data window here, and this gives you different data for where your cursor is at, such as the ticker equity or the ticker drawdown. You can also see the strategy return percent for where your cursor is at. Again, remember this, we've got it started from the beginning of 2022, so it's showing that the strategy return percent is like around 507 for this day. It shows the strategy max drawdown up to the point to where your cursor is at. So it shows that the max drawdown for my cursor is at, for the strategy max drawdown, at negative 17.66%. Again, remember that's for during the bear market. That includes the bear market of 2022. The NASDAQ 100, you can see, if you look a little bit lower, had a max drawdown of negative 35%. Again, that's up to that where your cursor is at that moment. So some of that data is there for you as well. I think that's a pretty good overview. One more thing, strategy tester here. You may want to also use that. It will replicate a lot of the information that you'll see on the screens within the Max trading system. But let's change this back to 09 to get all data for TQQQ from its inception. Again, you can see the entire returns panel, but under the strategy tester, I have to kind of click absolute and percentage. There's kind of a bug in TradingView that you have to kind of click that for it to show. But this will show the equity curve again for you. It also shows drawdowns in purples. So right here, you can kind of see where it comes down. Drawdown here would be like 12.7%. And it will show your net profit over time based on the amount that you put in for your account. Also show the percentage. It'll show the percent profitable trades. max drawdowns from the beginning to end. Now you will notice that there will be a little bit of a difference between the max drawdown here and what you'll see reported in the MATS settings, like on your drawdown panels and things, because what I do is I calculate drawdown based off of your account's all-time high to the current low, or to the maximum low for the max drawdown. TradingView doesn't quite calculate it that way. One thing that I wanted to show you is you can click on Performance Summary, and there's a lot of data here that you can look at and kind of see. One thing I do recommend to look at is the Sortino ratio. That's an important measurement. This one has a Sortino ratio of 2.4. That kind of tells you is a measurement that compares the risk to the profit that you're making. Anything between 1 and 2 is good. Anything above 2 is excellent. Anything below 1 is kind of not the best. You generally want something at least at 1. 2 is once you start getting up to around 2, that's really, really good. And that again is just a measurement about how much profit that you're making compared to how much risk you are taking on for that. But like I said, there's a lot of data here. You can see each list of trade. Now I will say the way that my script is set up, because you're constantly really holding a certain percentage, TradingView's list of trades is not necessarily accurate for how the Maximus Algorithmus trading system is set up. Because like I said, again, we're pretty much holding a constant position, and it just fluctuates about how much. And so it tries to do its best to kind of keep each trade separate, but it's hard to do that. But again, you can select on those different things and see some of those features. You can also click buy and hold equity. That would be the NASDAQ. Now this will be TQQQ, the returns for TQQQ over the lifespan. And as you can tell, the strategy is outperforming it. I think that's about it. Again, I highly encourage you to really just kind of zoom out and look at how it trades. There's a lot of times it will make some trades that it doesn't seem like the smartest trade to make, but it's making these trades based off of historical probabilities for different metrics that it is using to calculate these percentages of things. And so if it has a good historical probability for a winning trade, it will increase position. And it doesn't necessarily mean that that's what the market will do. Like I said, you will find examples where, like right here, it was holding 33%. It increased to 44%. After the market has gone up, it was anticipating a bounce off this drawdown and a continuation. It did not happen. It increased to 44%, or to 66%. Took a drawdown, and it actually decreased here. That's because it felt like it was concerned that a bull trend might be over, and it's giving you, it decreased in case we end up with more drawdown. It kind of gives you some more dry powder to use later for buying up dips and things. So, you know, sometimes, but of course, price could easily bounce back up to all-time highs, at which point a reduction in your position at this point would look stupid, but we have no way of knowing. It's just going off of historical probabilities with different metrics that it keeps track of and how the market performed with those similar metrics. That's about it. Of course, if you have any kind of questions, you can always message me on Discord. I'll be glad to help you out with any other kind of questions. And hopefully this will be a good start for you. I apologize if this was long. I'm rambling. I'm not some professional YouTuber or anything like that. I'm just a guy trying to help other people make some money in the market. But thank you very much. Y'all have a good day.